Hey guys, welcome back to the second time Lucky Mining channel. Yes, it's that time of the month, and in today's video we are going to have a look at the GPU mining statistics for the month of June. If you do like the GPU content, please like the video and consider subscribing to the channel. It will help me out a great deal. But enough of plugging the channel, let's jump into the content. In this video, what we are going to have a look at is the GPU statistics for the month of June. In my previous videos, I've done the same type of thing, but this one specifically, I've been super excited to do. Why, you might ask? And the reason for that is there's been a lot of action in the month of June. There was the market crash at the very start of June. The Ton coin that people have been dual mining has gone away recently. So I think that smart contract sort of ended the last couple of days. Power rates has been going sky high, profitability has been going down. The difficulty bomb for Ethereum kept on increasing, so you have this market being down, the price of Ethereum down, the difficulty is up, the dual mining option is gone. So there's a lot of factors that people and GPU miners need to take into consideration for the month of June, right? And I'm excited to see, what has the trends been compared to May and where we are now at the end of June, to see what people are doing to spot trends and see, if there is something that I can capitalize on, or anybody watching this video can see something that I don't see. If you do spot stuff that I don't see, please specify in the comments below, as it will not only help me, but help the greater community. Now, let's get the disclaimers out of the way, and if you haven't watched my previous video where I discussed that in detail, I'll just quickly flash over it. But the intent of this is to look similar to what the Steam hardware survey does, which compares trends in the market, what is the most popular GPUs, CPUs, operating systems, RAM, cores, that type of stuff, right? So, the HiveOS statistics or GPU statistics provide us, at least from a GPU mining perspective, a similar type of view as what SteamOS does. But together with SteamOS, the HiveOS statistics are not perfect. Why do I say that? Generally speaking, people would mine either on Linux or on Windows. So the HiveOS statistics already is not looking at anybody mining in Windows. I would argue, why are you still on Windows? But, that's besides the point. I do understand that it costs money eventually, to use HiveOS, but, sometimes you get what you pay for. But anyway, so even in the Linux space, there is more mining software than what is HiveOS, right? So there's a whole bunch of other, operating systems that you can use to mine. And again, the statistics that I'll look at today won't take that into account. So it's a very select set of data where we're only going to have a look at the HiveOS statistics. But, I would argue that would paint at least a picture. Stats should always in any way be taken with a grain of salt, and it's important to get these type of disclaimers, assumptions, that type of stuff out of the way so that people have got a clear view of what are they looking at. Now that the disclaimers are out of the way, what are we actually going to have a look at? And first off, what we're going to have a look at is what is the most popular coin. So, is people still mining Ethereum at this day and age, or did they switch to Ergo or Flux or Ravencoin or whatever, right? So, what coins are people mining? The next thing that we're going to have a look at is the Team Green and Team Red battle between AMD and Nvidia. So to have a look at the market share, what GPUs are people actually using for mining? Is there a change in the trend? The other thing that we'll have a look at is the most popular GPUs for both Nvidia versus AMD. So, is the 3070, which I love so dearly, is that a king, or is it dwindling down? The same on the AMD side. The legendary 580 is that sort of dropping off. So we'll have a look at the top 5 GPUs that people are using to mine with. And then lastly, we'll have a look at the miners. Now, that is not necessarily in the month of June, but in the month of May, there was a lot of action with the LHR unlocks. So I'm keen to see, the hangover of that effect. What has that done to the miners? So which miners are people using? Historically, it was, if you had a AMD card, it was Team Red Miner, right? You just run Team Red Miner. And similarly with Nvidia, if you had an Nvidia card, it was T-Rex Miner and that was it. If you had a combination of both, that's sort of where it was a little bit up in the air, or at least that's my opinion of it. But that's now where stuff like G miner, LOL miner, that came in on the mixed rigs. But that's what it was. What it is now is definitely different. But enough of talking about it. Let's jump onto the computer and let's have a look at the stats. Alright, so here we are on the computer. Now, what I've got open is the HiveOS stats page, and then on the right, I've got my second time lucky shared Excel sheet. So I'll leave a link in the video description, but you'll also be able to find it on my channel. There's a specific tab called HiveOS stats, and this is now where I'm recording on a monthly basis, sort of what the stats are at the end of the month. And again, now that we're at the end of June, I'm doing the same thing, and what I'm recording is then the change here in column E between what it was the last month and what it is now. Now let's have a look at the first couple of things, and the first one being the actual coins. Now if you can have a look here, you can see that currently Ethereum is at 82%. Now that's actually an increase between what it was last month. So last month it was 79, and the majority of that was there was a lot more ton mining actually happening. So I actually see a reduction in ton, which makes total sense to me because that smart contract is over. So I'm actually quite surprised that there is 0.8% people still got ton in their flight sheets or potentially even trying to mine that. So yeah, we can see there is an increase. Now the Ethereum increase I find actually quite interesting, where I would have thought with profitability going down, people would have tried more or other coins, which I don't necessarily see in the statistics. Now it might also be other miners that currently are switched off, and as such the percentage is a little bit unbalanced. So that's what I suspect it is, but you can clearly see here Ethereum is hell of a profitable, and then the big drop off was on ton. Now what I actually found interesting is on the CPU mining front, and Rabbit Mining probably would have more comments on that, but what I did see is XMR actually going down. So people are stop mining Monero and are again on this Raptorium train. So I did see a increase in Raptorium. Obviously last time I only record like the top 5 in each section here. Maybe I should do a little bit more, but I don't have the raw data, and I did reach out to HiveOS in case people are spamming me in the comments. I did reach out to HiveOS to see if I can get access to the raw data so I can put it in a database and do a little bit better stats, but unfortunately this is what I have, and I'm trying to make the best of it. But what I found interesting is that Raptorium mining is actually increasing again. That might be a stats thing or a percentage thing, but I did see that on the coin. Okay, next up is the classic battle between Team Green and Team Red. Spoiler alert, Team Green is actually winning that from a popularity point of view, from a mining perspective, but I'm actually quite interested to see how that actually changes towards the end of the year when we've got new GPUs coming out. Now, so if I just scroll a little bit down on HiveOS, I'll come back to the models, but if I keep on scrolling, and then here you can see on the GPU brand side, here you can see Nvidia 64% and AMD 36%, and that's actually been a 3% swing. So what's interesting here is there is now more Nvidia cards on the HiveOS network compared to AMD. Now that would make a little bit sense to me, and the justification I can put towards that, and I'm sure you would have other justifications, and if you do, please specify in the comments, but I would imagine it is some RX 580. So on the older front, some of the AMD GPUs might not be as efficient anymore, and people might have been switching them off. So I don't think it's people just buying crazy. I suspect it's maybe it's a combination of both, right, where people are switching off older GPUs, and then if they are getting new ones, it looks like they are getting Nvidia ones. So that's how I see this battle going on. Again, excited to see what happens at the end of the year. The rumors are that the AMD GPU is probably going to be a beast, but we'll see how it goes. On the Nvidia front, towards the end of the year, the power consumption is not looking good if you follow all the rumors associated to that. And if you're keen for rumors, I would highly advise you to watch Moore's Law is Dead's channel. I find him quite informative when it comes to leaks. Now, looking at the popular models, specifically Nvidia, so I'm just going to scroll back up. And here you can see the popular models on Nvidia side. So the 1660 Super, the 3070, 3060 Ti, 2060 Super, and 3080 is the top 5 most popular GPUs. Now, these ones makes total sense for me. I really love the 3070. I do like the 3060 Ti as well. I'm not a big fan of 3080s or mining with 3080s. Obviously, from a gaming perspective, there's nothing wrong with it, but me myself, I stay away from anything GDDR6X. And again, that's just at least my opinion. Now, this section is where I don't think the stats are necessarily that accurate, and the reason for that is there is a little bit of duplication here, and I'm not sure if that is because LHR and non-LHR or something else. I'm not sure, but there is a little bit of duplication here. So you can see a 3060 Ti LHR is also here at the bottom. Now, looking at the changes, again, the percentage changes sort of is the piece that doesn't really make sense. So it looks like the 3070 has dropped off a little bit, the 3060 Ti similarly, and a 3080. Now, I don't necessarily think this is a drop off. I think those GPUs are great GPUs. I really love at least the 3070 and 3060 Ti, but I suspect it's people buying more LHR models. And the reason is obvious. LHR is something of the past, or at least now that the unlocks is there. So I suspect, it's just a percentage difference where there are more people getting the LHR models. Now, looking at AMD, so if I just scroll a little bit just to make sure that the subtitles don't come in the way. I've had comments on that, by the way. Anyway, looking at the AMD side, what we have here is, surprise, the RX 580 is still the most popular on the AMD side with 30% dominance. So a lot of people are still rocking the 580s. I actually got a friend that still rocking his, so that makes total sense to me. The 570 just below that at 10%, 5700 XTs, 6600s, 6700 XTs, and 6600 XTs. Now, this is the piece that I find quite interesting. Now, looking at the changes between what happened last month and what it is now, I can see there's a drop off of RX 580s, and there was a 2% change. Now, that makes total sense for me, where people are potentially switching off the 580. So that's now where, again, my theory is that the power rate has increased and obviously profitability lower. That might have been people switching off some of these 580s. So there's been a 2% change there. It was 33 and now it's 31. Same thing for the 570s. Again, makes total sense to me that would drop off slightly. Now, what I found interesting is the 6700 XT actually increasing. And then what I didn't track last month, but what I did see going up, and even though I didn't put it in the sheet, the 6600s was actually lower than the 7% that it is now. So, I suspect there is people getting more efficient cards. Now, the 6600 and 6600 XTs, I don't have any of those models here, but I suspect, I know they are super efficient and a lot of people like them. So, I know Red Fox is a big fan of the 6600s, so they are super efficient. So I can definitely see how they are gaining popularity over a 580. So if, you would have been smart, you probably would have swapped your 580s into 6600s. Probably too late now, but, that's, I guess probably never too late, but that's what I suspect might have been happening. People either are switching off their 580s or they're trading them for 6600s, or at least that's what the stats are telling me. It might not be direct necessarily, but there's definitely a drop off of 580s and an increase of 6600. Last but not least, let's have a look at the miner stats. Now, if I just scroll a little bit down here on HiveOS, and this is now where you can see the actual miner stats. Now, the most popular miner still is ND miner, and that's what I actually find interesting. Is I would have thought, and similar to what I said last month, is that people would have moved over to T-Rex with the LHR unlocks potentially are enabled there as well. So But what you can see here is Nv miner is still the most popular miner at 25%. Now, and that's actually increasing. So you can see here, it used to be 17, then last month with the LHR unlocks, they jumped to 24, and they're actually now 25. So they are still gaining popularity on the NV miner front. Now, T-Rex is now 21%, so they dropped off quite considerably. Last time with the LHR unlocks, they were at 19, but they're clawing back now at 2%. So you can see there, the biggest changes are, NB miner gaining traction a little bit. Again, gain an extra 1%, and then T-Rex gain, 2 percentage points there. Now, looking at, who's the loser of this, because ultimately there will be a loser. This is a zero-sum game. You can only mine, or generally you mine with one miner on your graphics card or on your rig. Well, you can do multiple, but generally speaking, you would only use one per GPU. So that's where it's a zero-sum game. Now, looking at that, who the losers are, the losers continue to be Phoenix miners, so they've dropped off at 13%, so they've lost another 2%. Team Red Miner, surprised there, also dropped off at 1%. And again, that's now where I suspect that begs into or comes into effect here with the GPU dominance here. So we can see that there has been a change between Nvidia and AMD. So I suspect it's just a number thing, that there's just more Nvidia GPUs, and that's why there's now a lesser percentage of Team Red Miner. And again, I really wish I had access to the real numbers here so that I can quantify that and I can make that distinction. But unfortunately, I don't have access to that numbers. But anyway, so the numbers is what it is. Team Red Miner is down 1%, and then LOL Miner is still losing, which again I'm finding quite interesting. So I can see here LOL Miner used to be 11, then dropped to 10, and it's now 8. So they lost another 2 percentage points. Now G Miner, surprising here, actually gained an extra percentage point. So I actually use G Miner for my mixed rig, so I find that works well for me, or at least it's stable. Maybe not the best hash rates or the best thing, but it's stable for me, and that's what's important. That's it for this one, guys. If you've liked the video, please like it, and if you didn't, please specify in the comments what you would like me to change. Otherwise, I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.